We start early and get out early.
On that note, I'd like to welcome everybody here for the Newton County Board of Education Tuesday, January 19th regular monthly session meeting. If you will join me with the pledge of the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have special recognition this evening, I believe.
Yes, Madam Chair, we do. Tonight we have one student and 3 schools to recognize for their outstanding accomplishments. First up tonight, I'd like to ask Eastside High School student Sarah Draper to come forward to accept her certificate of recognition from School Board Chair Abigail Cotton. Sarah is going to be serving on the Georgia School Superintendent Student Advisory Council. Earlier this year, Sarah was selected to serve on the Georgia School Superintendent Richard Woods' Student Advisory Council. Over 1,500 middle and high school students in Georgia applied to serve on this prestigious council by submitting an essay application, and Sarah was one of only 110 to make the final cut. Sarah and her fellow Student Advisory Council members from across the state have been and will continue to meet with State Superintendent Woods throughout the school year, both in person and in virtual meetings, to discuss hard-hitting subjects such as the school dropout rate, student leadership, testing, school climate, and more. Serving in this capacity, Sarah is not only providing an important voice for her fellow students at Eastside High School and in the Newton County school system, but also for students across the entire state of Georgia. Congratulations, Sarah, for taking the initiative to apply and serve on this very important council. Next, we will recognize our Title I reward schools. Each year, the Georgia Department of Education releases its annual list of Title I reward schools. The reward school category is reserved for schools with either the highest performance or the largest academic gains by students in a Title I school in the last 3 years. This year, our school system had 3 reward schools. Reward schools are classified in one of 2 categories. Highest performing school and highest progress school. Those are the 2 categories. Each of our 3 schools earned recognition in the high progress school category, meaning they are Title I schools among the top 10% of Title I schools in the state that are making progress in improving the performance of the all student subgroup over 3 years on statewide assessments. Our 3 2015-16 Title I reward schools are East Newton Elementary School, Mansfield Elementary School, and Oak Hill Elementary School. Principals, when I call your name or your school, please come forward with any leadership or support staff who are with you to accept your school certificate of recognition from Mrs. Coggin, our school board chair. East Newton Elementary School and Principal Dr. Kim Cody, and Assistant Principal Leah Green. Congratulations. Mansfield Elementary School and Principal Dr. Lori Thomas and Assistant Principal Mr. Haymore, Chris Haymore. Congratulations, Mansfield Elementary School. And Oak Hill Elementary School and Principal Dr. Brenda Gammons. Congratulations. Congratulations to each of these schools, their students, and teachers for a job well done. Dr. Thomas, Sheila Thomas, who is in the front of the room this afternoon, do you have anything you would like to add to the comments regarding the performance of these 3 particular schools?
I just want to say congratulations to all 3 schools. I know that they have worked very hard to make sure that they were showing progress with the students, especially over a 3-year period of time. And we just want you to know that we're very proud of you, and we look forward to seeing your names and your school names on the reward Smart Schools list for many more years. Congratulations.
Dr. Thomas oversees our Title I program, so she keeps a good handle on the work that has to be done in our Title I schools. So thank you, Dr. Thomas. Madam Chair, this concludes the recognition portion of our meeting.
Thank you. Do we have any public participation this evening? Don't believe so. All right, well, thank you. This is the portion of the meeting, if you would like to leave, you're welcome to do so. If not, you are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but now would be the appropriate time. All right, moving on, the approval of our agenda.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to amend the agenda for tonight, please, ma'am.
All right.
I would like to add under new business a slide following G for us to select our legislative liaison for year 2016.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a second to amend the agenda? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Approval of the minutes. We have a motion to approve our minutes.
So moved.
First, do we have a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Dr. Lockhart, operations report.
Yes, Madam Chair. There are no changes to the financial or operations report at this time.
All right, well, let's, do we have a motion to approve the operations reports?
So moved.
Second.
First, second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to the item B.
Item B, for the reports, curriculum, instruction, technology, and enrollment reports, no changes. We do have a presentation, so if we could take action on the reports first and then go to the presentation.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the curriculum and instruction reports?
So moved.
First, do we have a second? Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, presentation.
Yes, ma'am. We'll ask for Dr. Allison Jordan, Ms. Shannon Buff, and Mr. Benjamin Roundtree to present a presentation about testing.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present a proposal to you this evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I have a PowerPoint for you, and I hope that we will be able to see this. This assessment, this presentation this evening is going to focus on two tests, COGAT and ITBS. We are proposing the additional purchase of COGAT and ITBS assessments, which will allow us to simplify processes, produce reliable and valid results, and reduce the loss of instructional time. We currently administer multiple local and state assessments in order to measure student achievement and monitor progress. However, given the state's changes to the assessment system, districts have lacked necessary data. The delay in state data sets require that we seek alternative measures that will allow us to better measure student achievement and monitor progress. Therefore, we would like to simplify our processes by implementing a longitudinal data system that will provide, within 24 hours of administration, reliable and valid results to be used by all within the district. This move will allow us to significantly reduce the loss of instructional time. Our current local assessments include universal screeners, benchmarks, common formative assessments, and of course the COGAT and ITBS to selected grades. State assessments, of course, we can't do anything about those. Those are mandated. Those include SLOs and your Georgia milestones, EOGs, and EOCs. This is what our current calendar looks like if you're looking at it through the eyes of testing. And there's a lot of overlap here. There are, where we see some shaded areas, there are actually multiple assessments taking place at the same time. You notice that in August and September, we have a tremendous amount of testing going on. Some of those include the universal screeners, benchmarks, things like that at various times throughout the year. And of course, scattered in there, we have the state mandated assessments. Well, at the bottom, there's a legend there for you. And without going through all of those specific details, the basic picture that we want to share with you here is that there's a tremendous amount of testing going on. We can do something about local assessments that simplify processes, provide reliable, valid results, and protect our instructional time. So we are proposing the additional purchase of COGAT and Iowa assessments so we can significantly reduce some of this. We would reduce the universal screeners and the benchmarks, replace those with the COGAT and ITBS, which are proven, valid, reliable measures, and of course, the state assessments would remain. The calendar would then shift and be much simpler, cleaner, reducing the number of local assessments, and we would still be provided with the data that we need to make those instructional adjustments very, very quickly without waiting for the state to provide data sets. And right now, as we all know, the state data sets are very, very delayed. So we do need to consider what we can do. The benefits of the COGAT and ITBS include allowing for the child's potential development to be understood and identified early on, and the ITBS providing answers to important questions about student growth and changes to groups over time. So basically what this is saying is, for a COGAT administration, we can look at how the student thinks and processes information, then couple that with the data that we receive from the ITBS at various points, and with those two assessments together, we can then truly make meaningful changes within a matter of days or a week and really see tremendous growth in our students. Other systems throughout this state and other states, they use these assessments, and collectively we believe that this would be the best way to go for our students. Any questions?
Yes, I have one. In the new proposal, are we testing for the same data as the other tests that you mentioned up here on the thing?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. So you're not changing any data points or new initiative in the new request here?
Actually, this test will allow us to administer in the fall, as we do with some other ones. But when we capture that data is so reliable and so valid, it will allow us to predict for 2 years out potential performance. So these assessments that we will be administering will allow us even more power, if you will, to determine the path that we should take instructionally and be much more beneficial, rather than waiting on the lagging data that we see from the state. So we still collect data, but with fewer administrations and simplify.
I like to say that I commend you guys for looking at different ways of testing. One of the biggest complaints that I get from teachers is they have no time to teach because of all the testing. And I really think that this will be a tool that we can use to be self-efficient, that we won't have to depend upon the state, because all of us know how late it is before we get their data. So now we can do things on our own to be able to predict what's going to happen. The other thing that I hope we do with this new process is to give us constant input and reviews on how the students are performing since we go into this particular process here. But again, thank you very much. I know the teachers are going to be very happy because
Yes.
that's what we get a lot of complaints about is too much testing, and so they can get back to teaching. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Will actually free up the month of August, so you won't have universal screening going on anymore. This will be your universal screener. And one of the things that Mr. Turner pointed out, what it does for the system is it creates independence from the state in that we will now have our own internal longitudinal system that keeps track of kids beginning in second grade, regardless of change in curriculum, change in state assessments, so we can keep up with the performance of our students. So in implementing a longitudinal assessment system like this, we are downgrading the number of assessments that our teachers are having to administer, but creating an opportunity for better and more data for us to act upon. So it's a great opportunity for us to make the transition.
I think putting instructional time back in the classroom is great. To what extent have these tests, are these used by other counties
Yes.
around?
Yes, other counties, other states.
Nationally norm reference
Yes.
assessment. It's a pretty good, it actually can predict, the ITBS can predict, or is it COGAT, predict how you will perform on an SAT or an ACT.
Yes.
They're all linked up together, so it's really very reliable and valid data, and will eliminate a lot of extraneous work that's been going on for these last 10 years.
That's great news.
I have a question on the assessments. So if we're going to minimize the number of assessments or tests that the students do, I guess my question is regard to the scoring or what we're going to do with the assessments to make sure that the children are still receiving the right studies they need to based on their scores. Because say, for instance, with the COGAT, you still have, it's 3 different batteries a part of that.
Yes.
So are the teachers, is that going to be the teacher's responsibility to then individualize the curriculum for each student in their classroom based on the 3 different scores of the batteries, or are we using the overall composite score to determine what the curriculum will be like for the student in the classroom?
Okay, the COGAT will allow us to look at those 3 different areas, cognitive processing and thinking. But then the ITBS that will be administered in various grade levels, and also at second grade we will administer the COGAT and the ITBS, okay, because that has to be your foundation. That ITBS is all 4 subject areas, so you will glean from that the information that you need in terms of the standards, the skills, the curriculum. In addition to that, we will also have common formative assessments that will be more of in the control of the principal teachers of each of the individual schools, but yet be monitored by the district office. So there's a tremendous amount of flexibility and power that the teacher can have when administering common formative assessments that will help all of that, and we will continue to monitor. So simply because we're reducing universal screeners benchmarks, yes, that's a huge shift for us. We will not just say, okay, we've administered one time and then remove ourselves from the equation. We cannot do that. We cannot afford to do that.
Okay. So then my next question, I'm sorry, I have another question. My next question after that is the teachers who do not understand, because there may be some that are not strong when it comes to reading assessments and differentiating their studies. For those teachers, what are we doing for those teachers if we're going to now cut back on the test to help them to understand how we need to take this information and use it at our advantage for the students in our system?
Part of my negotiations with the company include training for teachers.
Okay.
So we've been sure to address that up front and say we do need that additional training. So we have plans for that, yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, a follow-up question, ma'am. That is a one-time training, or is it ongoing?
In my negotiations, I am going to make sure that we have ongoing training as needed, even for new teachers coming in.
And that's the one thing that is really powerful about going to one assessment system is that the training is consistent you're not jumping from one tool to the next tool to the next tool and trying to keep everybody trained up all the time. We have one system, and we train on it, and then there's an opportunity to continuously train instead of, always chasing behind the train, trying to figure out what we're supposed to do, especially given the new state of the state assessments. We don't have the data to make any kinds of instructional decisions, but now we'll have them early in August, early September in that window.
Yes.
So it'll be really good.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, moving on. We have no old business. Item A under new business. This is new from last week.
Yes, Madam Chair, this is item A in relation to the presentation you just saw. Additional purchase of Colgate Iowa assessments. The superintendent recommends the approval of the additional purchase of Colgate Iowa assessments for use in elementary and middle schools. The assessments will be administered during the months of August and September 2016. And this is an item up for action this evening.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions? If there are none, do we have a motion for item?
So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion on the floor is to accept item A. It's been first and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Item B.
All right, Madam Chair, if you would like, we can take items B, C, and D together. They were items from last week, and they are before you this evening for board action.
All right, that's fine with me. Items B, C, and D. Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All right, first and second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right. Item E.
Item E is requested board action relative to 2016-17 board meeting dates. This is an item that was from last week, but again, just want to take that one separately in case there was any further discussion.
There was no discussion prior to this, to my knowledge, so do we have a motion to accept item E?
So move.
First, do we have a second? Second, Mr. Johnson. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, item F. This is, I think I've got the next few items.
Yes.
All right, item F is our election of our 2016 board chairperson and vice chairperson. Do we have a motion for board chair and vice chair?
Madam Chairman, I have a motion.
Yes.
If you would accept, I would like to nominate veteran board member Almond Turner as the board chairman for 2016.
Do you accept?
Accept. Thank you.
All right. Do you want to have anybody in mind for vice chair, or do you like?
I actually have an idea.
Okay.
Okay. So, Madam Chairman, if he would accept, I think it would be good to chair, have someone new, not brand spanking new, but new to be paired with a veteran member. So, therefore, I'd like to nominate Stan
Okay.
for vice chair, if you'll accept.
Do you accept?
I will.
All right. So the motion on the floor is Chair Mr. Turner and Vice Chair Mr. Edwards. Are there any discussion? All right. Do we have a second? I think
You'll have to second.
oh, I guess not. So, all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Great. Mr. Turner, would you like to take over now, or would you like to finish or like me to finish this evening?
Go ahead and finish this.
All right, well, thank you. All right, the next item is our 2016 GSBA delegate and alternate delegate for our summer conference. We need a motion or a nomination for our delegate and alternate delegate. Anyone?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Shakila Baker. Anderson, if she would accept. She went to the legislature.
For
But were you there last year?
I was. For the delegate,
Okay, well, if you were there last year, I'd like to rescind that. No,
I wasn't delegate last year. But-
Mr. Edwards served as delegate last year.
I would,
What if, may I make a motion as chair, or I think I'm going out of line here, but what if I take on delegate and you take on alternate delegate?
I would definitely do that.
Would that,
Do we need a motion for that? A single motion for that?
yeah.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that Ms. Coggins be the GSBA delegate and Ms. Henderson Baker be the legislative delegate. Is that right?
Alternative.
Alternative delegate.
Alternative delegate.
Yeah, we're not to the legislative.
Okay.
All right, that's fine. I accept that. You'll accept that. So all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we're to the legislative liaison
Okay.
for GSBA. All right, I would, do we have a motion or a nomination for that?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Henderson Baker.
All right, do you accept?
I gladly accept that one. No, legislation is my thing, so I
All
gladly
right.
accept that
Then
one.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, then that takes us down to, what is item I now? Superintendent's recommendations.
Item I, the superintendent requests the board approve the personnel recommendations made during the executive session.
All right. Do we have you have your finger up?
Yeah. Before we move forward on item I, I'm going to need to recuse myself of one item.
Okay.
One listed item.
Item 2.
It's going to be number 2.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, then do we have a motion to accept?
So
item
moved.
I? So move first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All right, great. Other matters of interest?
I have none, Madam Chair.
Okay, if no one else has any, we have a motion to adjourn for the evening.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, great job.
Thanks, Abigail.
Should make you squirm there.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Recommended, yeah.
But you can't.